Hello, my name is Michelle Pierce, and in this tutorial we will be working with creating formulas with Microsoft Excel 2016. Here are the objectives for this lesson. First, we will learn how to create formulas. We will also learn how to edit formulas, how to reference cells, and how to use built-in functions. We will be covering a lot of material, and let's get started. This table shows you the different arithmetic operators that Excel uses. Most of them you're familiar with: the plus sign, minus sign. The asterisk may be new to you. It is used for multiplication. The forward slash is used for division. The percent sign is used for a percent. It will automatically change that into a percent for your calculations. And the caret is used for exponents. So for instance, this right here would be 3 raised to the second power. Now, the first thing that I want you to notice as we go through this tutorial is we're going to be working a lot with this bar that's up here. This is called the formula bar. If I click in a cell, let's say I want to enter a formula over here that calculates profit, it automatically puts my cursor up there in the formula bar. So let's go ahead and get started with entering a simple formula to calculate the profit. Now, in order to start a formula in Excel, you always have to begin with the equal sign. So I'm going to type in equal. And then I'm going to use my cursor, use the mouse to click on this cell right here. It's B2 because that's the one that I want to start with. And then I'm going to type in the minus sign and then click on B3. And then after that, I'm just going to press enter. And that automatically it brought me down to the next cell, and it also automatically calculated that total, and it went ahead and told me that I had $20 of profit. Now the other thing I can do is I can go ahead and duplicate that formula across here. And if you notice, we're going to look at this a little bit later, but first let's look at how the formula changes as it goes through. First it's B2 minus B3. And then when we go to February, it automatically changed to C2 minus C3. And that is because by default in Excel, it uses a relative reference. And what that means is that the position is going to change every time you copy the formula. It's going to change based on the position that you started at. This slide shows the different parts of a formula. First, right here, we have a function. Right after the equal sign, this particular formula has put in the pi function. So that's right here, it's referring to number 1. And then we have references. These are cell references. So right here, we have A2, which is going to correspond to the cell that is A2. And then constants. You can always type in a number if you know it's going to stay the same and there's nothing to reference it to. You can just go ahead and type in that number directly into the formula, and that is called a constant. Then we have the operators, and that refers to the symbols that we just looked at. The caret operator is right here, and that's what you use to do exponents. And then the asterisk is right here. That's what you use to multiply numbers. The next thing that I want to show you is how to use a built-in function with a formula. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the total of the profit for the entire year. So I went ahead and clicked on the cell that I want to put the total in. And now I'm just going to type in, I can either go to the formula bar or I can double click in there. And I'm going to type in the equal sign and sum. Now, as soon as I type in S, it's going to go ahead and give me a lot of different built-in functions, and Excel has a lot of them, as you can see. So for simplification, we're just going to use sum, and then it needs a range. So the range of cells that I want to do is from January, the profit for January, all the way over to December. And if you take a look at our formula bar, it automatically put in the references B4 all the way over to M4. And then I'm just going to press enter, and it automatically gives me my total. So when I click on the cell again, we can always look up here and verify our formula. So if you ever want to just go check and see if the formula is correct, you can look right here. Say, for instance, we checked over this and we saw that instead of saying B4, it started with C, which would of course make our calculation wrong because it wouldn't include January. All you have to do is click in the formula bar, go ahead and erase the C, and then type in the B, and then press enter. And you've got it back. Okay, now we're going to look at how to do an absolute reference. So let's say that you want to see what your profit would be if your sales were to increase by, say, 5, 10, or 20%. So first we're going to do a formula to calculate what the profit would be in January if your sales increased by 5%. The first thing we're going to do is type in the equal sign, and then we're going to reference the 5%, and then we want to multiply it times our sales. And then I should have put this in already, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in parentheses because then we want to add it to the total profit. It's right here. And then press enter. And you can see that it's correct. 5% of 120 is 6. You add 6 to 20 and you've got 26. So now I want to go ahead and copy that formula. So let's just see what happens if, just like it is, if we copy the formula over to February. Now you can probably already tell that there is a problem because we're not going to have 5,300 sales with an increase of just 5%. So what the problem is that I used relative references and I needed to use an absolute for the 5%. When we come over here to column C, you can see that it went, instead of referencing A7, it referenced B7. So we're going to go back. We're just going to undo that and then go back here. And we're going to make this an absolute reference. I'm going to click in between the A and the 7, and then I'm going to use my function key. F4 is the shortcut key for adding an absolute reference. You can also just type in a $ before the letter and a $ before the number. That works just as well. And then I'm going to press enter. So you can see this didn't change, but now when I go ahead and copy it over, I've got 110, which definitely looks a lot better. And then the other ones we left the same because we want those to be relative. You want those to change with each different month. So we're going to go ahead and fill this all the way across. And yep, it looks like we're good. Here is a summary of the different type of cell references. We have the relative reference, the absolute reference, and the mixed reference. Basically, the relative reference is going to change. Both the row and the column are going to change when it's copied. The absolute reference, neither are going to change. Neither the row nor the column will change. And then the mixed reference, one of them will change and one of them will stay the same. So you're either going to have an absolute column and a relative row, or an absolute row and a relative column. And I have provided some examples here. There are also more examples on the documentation, and there are some more resources that you can check out. There's some more videos and some other Excel training that I've included in the document that you can take a look at, as well as there's a quiz that was very helpful as well. And that's the end of our tutorial. Thank you so much for listening.